Tonight, new information. According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets. A JAG officer was also giving legal advice.
This backs up the entire second strike.
Yes, I mean, it just doesn't get more crystal clear than that. The mission is take out the boat, stop the drugs, keep this vessel and its cargo from reaching our shore using lethal means. And our amazing military, the heroes of the United States Armed Forces, did exactly that. President Trump, Secretary Hegseth, and this entire government are committed to finally using our military to defend our people, our borders, our family, our culture, our history, our heritage, to defend the United States. We're not going off running around the Middle East trying to build democracies in caves and deserts and in distant sands that have never known democracy. We're using the military to protect American security, American prosperity, American lives right here where we live, where our children live.
All right, it's your boy Oouchie, saying the things everybody's thinking but scared to say out loud. You just watched that clip, ABC reading their source, then Fox and Stephen Miller breaking it down, talking about the drug boat strike and Trump using the military to blow up narco-boats instead of doing forever wars in the Middle East. Before I cook, do me a favor real quick. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with somebody who's been arguing about this drug boat story online. All right, let's talk. So here's the game the Democrats and their media buddies are running. They're trying to sell this like Trump and Hegseth woke up one morning like, let's go kill random poor fishermen, then double tap them while they're in the water. They're floating that war crime language, illegal orders, kill them all narrative, all that dramatic movie script talk. They went on TV and social media implying that the second strike was just Trump murdering shipwreck survivors for fun, that the military was told, no mercy, kill everybody, and that this proves Trump is some unhinged war criminal. But when you actually slow it down and look at the facts, their little storyline starts falling apart. Here's what's come out so far from AP, WPO, and others, not just conservative media. These weren't some people on a cruise. This was a boat the U.S. identified as an alleged drug-smuggling vessel from Venezuela in the Caribbean. The U.S. has been running a whole series of strikes on suspected narco-boats in that region since September, targeting trafficking routes tied to cartels and groups like Tren de Aragua and ELN. On this specific strike, the first hit blew the boat up. 11 people on board, suspected narco traffickers. Now the part everybody's yelling about, the second strike. According to multiple reports and a classified briefing to Congress, 2 survivors climbed back onto the wreckage after the first hit. They were believed to be back in communication and trying to salvage drugs/equipment from the wreck. A JAG officer, military lawyer, was consulted and gave legal advice before the second strike. Republican Senator Tom Cotton came out of that briefing saying there was no kill them all order. No instruction from Hegseth like, show no mercy. Even AP, not exactly a MAGA fan club, reported. The admiral who ran the mission said he did not get a kill them all command. He made the call based on the mission, destroy the drug cargo and neutralize the threat. Now you can still debate, was it legal under international law? Should we be using airstrikes for this type of mission? Those are fair questions. But that's not what the Democrats and their media talking heads did. They skipped debate and went straight to, Trump is a war criminal. This was an illegal assassination. The military must refuse his orders. That's not concern. That's a PSYOP narrative. You've got Democrats like Mark Kelly, Chris Van Hollen, Adam Smith, and others jumping out, calling it deeply disturbing, likely a war crime, talking about illegal orders, pushing this idea that Trump and Hegseth basically said, kill everyone on that boat no matter what. One of the wildest pieces? You had Democrats doing videos basically hinting to service members, if you get an illegal order, you must refuse it. All while they're out here framing this specific mission as obviously illegal, before the full legal review was even public. That's not oversight. That's undermining the chain of command using a story they want to be true. And now that the admiral says no kill them all order, JAG was involved. The survivors were back on the wreck trying to salvage drugs and potentially communicate. The Trump gave a murder order storyline is already cracking. But do you see them walking that back? Nope, they just move on to the next outrage. Here's the other part they play games with. On one side, the Trump admin is saying these were narco-terrorists tied to cartels and gangs. They say intel backed these boats being part of major trafficking routes. On the other side, Venezuelan and Colombian officials, plus some media, are saying, actually, a bunch of them were civilians, fishermen, poor guys just trying to survive. Now, you notice something? When it's time to attack Trump, Democrats and left media will suddenly believe Maduro's government, left-wing NGOs, anybody who will say these were innocent dudes, no drugs here, over our own intel and our own military's version. I'm not saying every single person on every boat is Pablo Escobar, but let's not act brand new. That region is a known corridor for cocaine running from Colombia and Venezuela up toward our shores. Boats from certain ports are deeply tied into the drug economy, not just fishing. Manhattan District Attorney's Office. You got 20+ strikes on these kind of vessels since September, with tons of drugs seized or destroyed in some cases. This isn't random. Even polling shows Americans mostly support blowing up drug boats, but get squeamish when you phrase it as killing suspects without trial. So what do Democrats do? They describe it in the most emotional, manipulative way possible. Trump murdered helpless survivors clinging to wreckage. Instead of, the U.S. military carried out a controversial second strike on a suspected drug vessel where survivors reboarded the wreck, and JAG cleared them as still valid targets. Those are two very different conversations. Look at the pattern. Russia collusion. He's a Russian asset. He told people to drink bleach. He called neo-Nazis very fine people. He's planning a military coup. Now, he's bombing innocent Venezuelan fishermen and ordering war crimes. Every week, it's a new trauma story for people with Trump derangement syndrome. Instead of, we don't like Trump's policy on using the military against drug boats, here's why. They jump to, he's a psycho war criminal. He gave illegal orders. The military should maybe disobey him, because what they really want is to delegitimize him as a commander-in-chief, to turn every use of force into a scandal, to scare the public into thinking he's one step away from nuking random civilians. And then, when more facts come out, like the admiral saying there was no kill them all order, the war crime talk quiets down, and they just move on to the next narrative. No correction, no our bad, no accountability. Let me be clear. I'm not saying everything Trump does is perfect. I'm not saying the strikes can't be questioned legally or morally. Debate that. Should we be using airstrikes to blow up drug boats outside of a formal war? Does this blur the line between law enforcement and war? Those are valid topics. But what I am saying is this. The way Democrats and their media arms rolled this story out was not about truth. It was about politics and fear-mongering. They framed it as a clear-cut Trump committed a war crime before they even had all the facts, then tried to prime troops and the public to see him as illegitimate. That's dangerous. You can hate Trump. You can disagree with the mission, but stop lying and twisting every single thing to fit he's a monster fan fiction. Because when a real scandal comes along, nobody believes you anymore. If you're tired of the media and these politicians running the same scare script every time Trump does anything, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, Share this video with somebody who's been spamming war crime in the comments without reading a single actual report. Jump in the comments. Do you support using the military to take out drug boats? Do you think the second strike went too far? Or do you think the hoax narrative is the real problem? It's your boy Oouchie saying the things everybody's thinking but scared to say out loud.